Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel Legends Spider-Man, the animated series VHS 2-pack with Smythe and Peter Parker. Ciao and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man, the animated series VHS 2-pack with Alistair Smythe and Peter Parker. Now this is the fourth set in the series and the last one that we know of, and it's definitely been the best example of plastic-free packaging we have gotten so far, mainly because of that amazing artwork on the front from Harry Moore. It is super nostalgic and takes me straight back to the 90s when I was buying and collecting these Toy Biz figures back in the day. So when I say I have wanted this particular version of Peter Parker in action figure form for nearly 30 years, it is not an over exaggeration. So I am very happy for this one today, and we have never had Alistair Smythe in the 6-inch line either. So there we have the artwork on the front. As I said, really nice, super nostalgic. On the side we get 1, 2 Smythe and Peter Parker. So if you are buying all the sets in this sort of series, you can line them up like a VHS shelf from the 90s. My minor gripe is that they all say 1, 2, especially when we know there's 8 in the series. It would have been pretty good to line them up 1 to 8, but I'm just happy they are here. These actual screen accurate versions of these characters is what I've always wanted. On the back we get some digital renders with Smythe and Peter Parker, no bio, wave association or cross sale, anything like that. And then on the side, that epic Spider-Man logo, that's what's nostalgic to me, and then Smythe and Peter Parker. So without further ado, let's get it open. And this is what it's all about. Here we have Peter Parker and Smythe out of the packaging with their accessories. Quite lackluster, just an interchangeable set of hands for each, but Peter does come with his trusty camera. But this is what it's all about for me. Peter looks so good. When I read Spider-Man now, it's that animated series voice that I hear in my head, and that is my mind's eye of Peter Parker every day of the week. I'm so happy to have it. So I'm going to try lots of head swaps, don't you worry. But both of these figures are completely pinless as well, so up there with the best that has broken off for us right now. So let's look at these one by one, and let's start off with the man himself. Now, it's only fair that we start by comparing Peter to the actual animated series, and I think they have nailed it. What is essentially a simple look with the salmon undershirt, the blue shirt, jeans, trainers, but it's all about that head sculpt for me. They have brought what is essentially a 2D animation into the 3 dimension and have nailed it. The only decision they had to make really is what outfit does Peter wear, as another famous look is that polo shirt with the stripes, but I do think out of all 5 seasons he wore this look a lot more, so I'm happy they went with this option. Would have been fine with both, and maybe we get another version on a retro card. I wouldn't be mad at that. And you can let me know for yourself, as here we have a close-up of the animated Peter Parker head sculpt, and as I've already said, I think they've got it bang on. I love the sweeping hair over the front, and it's quite a neutral expression with the digital face printing tech, but there's a tiny little smirk there. The eyes are really crisp and clear, and it looks like there's some sort of wash in the hair, but it's just the sculpt and the lights creating shadows. But as we spin it all the way around here, I think they've done a really bang up job of this. So yeah, even the profile is Peter Parker from that animated show. So really like this, and of course I'm going to try some head swaps as well. But yeah, really good. So let's zoom out and check out the rest of this. So it is a completely pinless body, and these are the same arms we've already seen on J. Jonah Jameson. So they are only single jointed. That is an unfortunate flaw of this figure, but as is in Peter Parker mode, I don't think I'm going to be getting him into any crazy poses anyway. The jacket is an overlay, of course. You could remove that, but then the arm sleeves would be the different colour to the actual salmon jacket. You can see the crunch there in the middle as well, though the ab crunch will go forward like that, and back not so much because of the sort of thickness of the jacket. But it works really well with the sleeves. You've still got the arms going all the way up with the bicep swivel, so they have no problem at all. You've even got the watch, which is a separate piece, which we've seen a few times in Marvel Legends before, but it's a nice detail. Currently, it's what, 3 o'clock? There you go. So even the details are there. Back down, you've got the bout, of course, and there is a waist swivel there, broken up by the t-shirt. You've got the lighter jeans, and then you have the pinless knees, and then the trainers. What's his trainer game like, people? You let me know. A little bit of grey there. I think Dan Yoon says that it's not quite there, is it? He needs some Jordans or something, but they still look all right in Legends form. And double jointed knees like so. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see what's going on. Ankle pivot rocker. They've got a cut of the thigh. So I think for Peter Parker mode, you're still going to be able to get this guy in some nice poses. Out of the box, he has 2 gripping hands, and that is so he can hold his camera. But that is the unfortunate thing about the single elbows, is that you can't really get the camera close up to his face, but he can still hold it pretty well. You have the little bit of colour on there with like the purple lens and then the flash as well. But obviously, he is the reporter for the Daily Bugle, or at least trying to make a living on that. It would have been nice to have like a version of this with the web attached to it that you could maybe stick somewhere. That would be pretty fun. But it is an accessory that makes complete sense for Peter Parker. It's just that trying to get it up close to his face, you can angle the hand down actually, because there is an up and down hinge. So yeah, you can maybe get it decent-ish, sort of. But yeah, the single jointed elbows are going to sort of limit that, but it still does the trick for the shelf. And then, spoiler alert, I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but that's right, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So we actually get a set of sort of swipping hands for our Peter Parker. But because they are just regular sort of skin tone hands, we have got other figures in the collection we can borrow hands from. Like J. Jonah Jameson, for example, where he has this pointing finger. First comparison, of course, had to be next to Spider-Man. So this is the cel-shaded animated series Spider-Man. And it's a little bit odd that Spider-Man is shorter than Peter Parker, considering they're the same person. So that's straight away a little sort of minor gripe. But there's the height for Peter Parker. You can see he's just under 6.5 inches tall compared to Spider-Man, who is just over 6 inches. So maybe those trainers are giving him a little bit of height. But of course, I want to see a head swap. And yes, absolutely, the Peter Parker head sculpt pops on this Spider-Man body, no problem at all, and it works really well. The only thing he's missing is like a little accessory where he can hold his mask. That is something that Legends don't give us in the 6-inch form, and we need it. For a quick comic comparison, here we have the recent Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, who is at a much more accurate height compared to this Peter Parker. We also have the comic Peter Parker with that updated Renew Your Vows head on there. So let's try some quick head swaps with these two. First, animated head on the comic body. The head pops on the peg, no problem at all, and the skin tones virtually match up, so it is completely up to you. He's on the older body, but he does have the double jointed elbows, limited because of the thickness. So yeah, if you wanted an option, there's one. And the comic Peter Parker head also fits on the animated body if you preferred that as well for your comic displays. I think that works absolutely fine. And then here we have the animated head on the Renew Your Vows body, and it does pop on that dumbbell joint, no problem at all. And proportionately, I think this works really well for the right scale for a 90s Spider-Man. And I'll do some more comparisons at the end, but before we move on, I just needed to see this. Here we have Peter Parker, Mary Jane Watson, and Aunt May, all as How They Appear, animated, screen accurate from that 90s show that is ever so nostalgic for me. When I say this fills my heart with joy, I mean it. Next up, we have Smythe, who again, I am very happy to add to the collection. Very animated, accurate, and if you compare it to the show, they've nailed it once again, as the design wasn't too complicated, but there were a couple of ways they could have gone with Alistair, as they could have gave us him in a hover chair in his human form, but this is his more mutated look from later on in the series. Zooming in, I think they've done a great job with Alistair's head sculpt. He's got the yellow eyes, but they didn't yellow them out. They have got pupils in there, which give him that sort of sense of humanity still. You've got the sort of subtle pink lips, and then a little hint of green for the mullet on his hair, because he has that sort of iconic flat top but still has the mullet around the back. So that is nicely sculpted as well, to be fair. You've got these tentacles coming off the shoulders, which are a separate sculpted piece. They look really nice, little detail in there. The arms have the sort of fins coming off the forearms, and then you have the pinless double jointed elbows. So shoulders go all the way up, bicep swivel, and then a deep double jointed elbow. Really like that. The waist is got a swivel on it, and then if I zoom out, you can see the range of the ab crunch forward a little bit, but back much, much more. So that's really nice. There's a thigh cut for the legs, and then you've got the double jointed knees with the blue fins down here on the shins, and then you've got these unique, big, thick sort of toenails done in like a subtle chrome. So that's really nice. And then there's texture on the actual sort of blue as well. It's like that navy blue does have a bit of texture. Hopefully it's coming across on camera, but there's definitely some texture in the tentacles or the fins, sorry, with a little sort of subtle bit of green in there as well. Only subtle bit of black in those there to bring out the texture. But all in all, he looks really, really nice. Those pinless double jointed knees can kick his own ass, no problem at all. Legs go really far up. Look at that. With the ankle pivot and rock at, great range, decent range out as well. So really happy with this, very accurate to his animated look. Would I have liked Alistair in human form in a hover chair as well? Yeah, of course I would. So out of the box, Alistair comes with 2 fisted hands, of course. But while we're zoomed in, it would have been nice to have a butterfly joint here as well. And these tentacle sort of pieces are a hard plastic, so they're not going to break or anything. But it would have been good to have maybe a port at the end of these with like a sort of translucent green effect piece you could stick in there, as he does use that power in the animated show. But maybe that's asking for too much, because all we actually get are these sort of open palm hands. Now, I believe these are the same open palm hands we've been getting with all those Vulcan bodies. In regards to scale, Alistair stands at about maybe just under 6.5 inches to the top of the flat top, which is your average scale. So compared to Spider-Man, he should look pretty bang on. There we have the slightly smaller sort of 60th anniversary body, remember, they used on the animated version. And here we have the Renew Your Vows, which I still think is a better scale for Spider-Man in the animated show. It's just the colour palette could be changed a little bit. But still, both work and you have your options. Bring back in both Peter Parkers. So again, you can see how that works from animated to comic. Here we have Mary Jane Watson and Aunt May again. Now, this is the retro carded Kingpin that was on the animated style card, but it's not exactly animated accurate, but it's close enough you can work for a display. And I think in regards to scale, it works pretty well. Here we have Dr. Octopus, and it makes me so happy to have an animated accurate Doc Ock and Peter Parker in the collection. Here we have Alistair and Peter compared to some more examples from the animated series Rogues Gallery. Very colourful, undoubtedly going to pop on the shelf. You know I had to say that once in a review. Here we have Scorpion, Craven and Green Goblin. And here we have some more characters that did pop up during that 90s animated show with Iron Man and Wolverine. Honestly, I'm so happy that they didn't go with cel shading on any of these Spider-Man figures, because I think it allows you to mix your comic and animated Spider-Man characters now to sort of make the best display. And then let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. So we have Frogman, Tigra and Jocasta, who is reading comments from my Marvel Legends reviews, so make sure you leave a comment below.
J-Stoy Collection UK says, Todd needs to get a wriggle on. How has Hasbro completed the Squadron Supreme before he has completed a classic Justice League?
And of course, last but never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal, Fire, Hank. Leave it. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man 90s animated series VHS 2-pack with Peter Parker and Alistair Smythe. Honestly, I am the target audience for this. I grew up in the 90s. This was my gateway to Marvel, so I'm all about it. I am very, very happy to have that Peter Parker. Instantly one of my favourite action figures, just for the nostalgic attachment I have. But it's a solid Marvel Legend as well, and so is Alistair Smythe. So selfishly, I would have preferred all these characters to be on a retro card, but I'm just glad they exist all the same. So I'm curious, will this VHS line continue, or now that they can do plastic packaging again, will we jump back to more characters on the retro like we've already seen with Tarantula and Rose? Curious how you would prefer to see these Spider-Man animated characters released in the comments below, because we still need a chameleon. Hasbro, what is going on? Please, an animated accurate chameleon in Marvel Legends form. Thank you very much. So, as always, I'm sure you agree. Let me know in the comments. But if you like Marvel Legends, then well, you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlists. But most importantly, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, hit all on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and I'm on Twitter or X at Dan Who Reviews, and I will of course see you on the next one.